I've been doing my AM routine for the past couple weeks. I essentially wake up around 4 o'clock in the morning. I practice gratitude. I play a stoicism track. I say thank you for the things that I'm grateful for when I wake up: this breath, this body, my bed, the shelter, my clothes, the electric that I have, the water that I have. I'm pretty sure you guys have known what it's like to be without power or Wi-Fi or water. These basic essentials can be taken for granted, and to show gratitude for all of the blessings that we have, all of our gifts that we have in our minds and our hearts, our bodies, just to be healthy. I used to work in healthcare, and I took care of some people where they couldn't talk, they couldn't walk themselves, and it's humbling because I'm pretty sure you guys know what it's like to feel sick, or if you're injured and you can't walk. For example, in 2016, I was ego lifting. I slipped a disc. I was doing squats, deadlifts, too much weight, bad form. I had sciatica down my right leg. I was in pain for about a year and a half, and I lost a lot of gains. I wasn't able to work out. My mental health, it went down because I got out of shape, I got weaker. These are things that I identify with because I can't make myself taller, or I can't change the color of my skin or my past family background. I can make myself stronger on a mental level, on a physical level. The main reason why I'm trying to change now is because I felt like I did every single thing that I could do in life, and a lot of programming came from my family, school, culture, religion, the TV, the radio that we listen to. And I asked myself, do I still believe with the programming? And I have one life to live. I'm at half life right now. I felt like I wasn't really alive because I hated myself in the past. I was more depressed, more pessimistic. If I look for problems, I will find them, and I will create that kind of life, whether it's a job or a relationship. And if I look for positive things, I will also find them as well, such as the beautiful sky, the air that we breathe, the relaxing commute to work. I was trying to control things that I didn't have control over, such as progress, whether it's at work or at martial arts or other hobbies that I have. I had to learn how to detach and let go. For example, I had a car. I did full bolt-ons on it. It was super fun, convertible. I had to let it go because it wasn't helping me on a mental level or a physical level. I could do a lot of things on my own. If I drive to work, I may not be focused on the content that I'm listening to, and that's why I just let the car drive itself. I detached and I trusted enough. I learned what it could do, and I trust myself. That's how I'm able to trust the car to drive me to work. If you guys have resentment for past family, your parents, your siblings, or exes, you can audit yourself and ask yourself, am I perfect? I was never perfect. I always had things that I wanted to work on. Even as a younger person, I knew I was on my own essentially, because I had reverse role models when I was growing up, people who I didn't want to be like. My dad, he smoked, he gambled, he wasn't working for a certain period of time. He has anxiety attacks, mental limitations, and physically abusive. If you guys are Asian, or if you guys are minorities, I'm pretty sure you guys shared my struggles growing up. It was pretty difficult. I remember when I was in high school, even before that, when I was in middle school, I had to work in a restaurant, Chinese restaurant, because there was no food in the refrigerator. That's why I figured, why would I stay home if there's no food there? I work for food. I remember giving half of my money to my dad. And then when I was in high school, they had a vocational school, and I learned to be a nurse aide. I was working 80 to 100-hour weeks at certain times because I was just trying to make money, and I didn't see the point in staying home. I never felt comfortable at home. I was always a person that was out and about. I'm not too close with my family. I'm pretty distant. I'm an avoidant type of person. It transferred into my adult life. A lot of beliefs, they could be false beliefs as well. They stem from childhood. And since my mom, she bounced when I was 3 months old, how could I love myself if I didn't get love from my mother? And I always wondered where she was, what she was doing. I met a friend in 2012 because I had to do a requalification. And then 10 years later, he found her. And then I had a chance to meet her. Initially, she didn't want to see me. I just figured I would ask anyways, no matter what happened. Because there was a void. I had to know who she was. Because I was older, she was older, and I knew that I would regret if I didn't reach out to find her. And I could see my brothers, they have struggles as well. I got a chance to meet her, and I realized that her family, her mother, her parents, she wasn't close with them either. That's why when she bounced, she never came back, and I asked her, do you love yourself? And she got angry and she didn't answer the question, and I knew that she didn't love herself and she couldn't love me as a son. And I think that my dad did the best that he could. They were 20 years old around the time I was born. And I know around when I was 20 years old, I didn't know what I was doing either. That's how I could have forgiveness. My parents grew up in 1950, around that time, during the Civil War of Vietnam. Vietnam was in war, 1945 to 1975, and that's why they had problems. It destroys lives. I was never in the war, but yet the effects were instilled into me from my parents. I was blessed to be born in the United States, even if I said it was a curse, because I didn't grow up with people that looked like me. I had struggles. I was an outsider. I didn't speak the second language. I had eye contact problems. I didn't trust myself. I lacked confidence, lack of self-love. I didn't belong. Even my name, Phuong, nobody could say it and nobody could spell it. And it affects the identity. Versus if my name was SpongeBob, my life would be 100 times easier. That's why certain people, they change their names to English names that are easy to say. Statistics say it's easier to get hired if you have a name like John or Susie, because people could say it. It's easy. It builds comfort and rapport. Versus if I have to say my name is Phuong, it's spelled Phuong, it means path or direction. Also, when I take pictures and I smile, I have to open my eyes a little wider. Because if I don't, it'll look like I'm sleeping in a picture. Or I could be watching content on YouTube and they could say Asian people, they're on the bottom of the totem pole. I'm also short and short men don't have any value. You just work with what you have and you find the people that love you. You find people that you want to be around. Life is like a video game, and I would have to find ways of how to gamify things, how to enjoy life, how to overcome challenges. I was reading this book, it's a Joel Osteen book. They took bees to outer space, and the bees, they didn't have to flap their wings anymore. And 3 days later, they died. That means that we're here to work. That's why being in the gym, it builds a healthy body inside. It'll make us live longer. It'll improve the quality of life. Also on the outside, it'll make us stronger, more attractive. It makes it easier to talk to people, to enjoy life. Because if you guys played a video game and you had to choose a character, would you want a weak character, a fast character, a balanced character, or a really super strong character? And essentially, I build who I want to be in the gym. And I'm a balanced character. Because I want to look good for women, essentially, for other people. I want to be aesthetic. I'm not interested in being the strongest guy in the room. I'm 5'6.5", and I'm proving to myself that I'm worthy. Because this is the first time that I ever got a coach. Obviously, I could go on ChatGPT and look things up and do things on my own. Why should I? Because successful people or businesses, they work in teams. They work with other entities. I have my coach so that he could work on giving me information in terms of the diet, in terms of the workouts, and encouragement and accountability. I know he's smart, and I wanted to associate with somebody like him. That's why I got that coach, and I feel worthy of the investment of myself. Most people, they would probably say, how much is the coach? How much does this application cost? And it's not about the money that you would be spending, because imagine if I didn't spend the money, I probably still want to eat a piece of metal. That's why it was a dire situation for me, because I've been having these kinds of thoughts for the majority of my life, and I felt embarrassed about it. I felt ashamed to talk about it. Even growing up poor in a broken home, it's embarrassing. It shaped me as a person now, and I'm more free talking about it. Nobody cares. It's all good. Because everybody has past trauma, everybody has struggles. Even two of my friends, they grew up with both of their parents. They have siblings. One's white, one's Indian. And they had things that I never had. But yet they still have tons of problems that I had in the past. And I think one of the major problems that men have in today's society is self-love. Because it doesn't come from an external. It doesn't come from your family. It doesn't come from a woman or a pet. It comes from within. And I can say I love myself, and I can prove it by my actions that I do every single day. I'm trying to improve my sleep because I noticed when my sleep was trash, I was tired, I was pessimistic, I was thinking, why do I have to wake up, versus I get to wake up, I get to improve. And for example, morning affirmations, I'm strong, I'm calm, I'm relaxed, versus if I ask myself questions, why am I strong? Why am I confident? Why am I good looking? I'm not saying that I'm good looking. I'm asking myself, why am I good looking? And it's because it's not necessarily just the physical shell. Because getting good sleep, it could clear out the bags, it clears out the skin. Thinking more positively, it creates a better foundation mentally and physically. I get to go to the gym, to see my friends, to work out, to smile and be happy. I could say I worked out in the gym for 90 minutes before you woke up. And it's a mental edge. David Goggins talks about it, where he would be doing so much work before everybody wakes up. That's why I highly suggest that you guys wake up early to conquer the morning. And if you can't wake up super early, set your alarm clock 10 minutes before, and increment slowly up until the time that you want to wake up for your goal. And give yourself credit for the things that you're doing. You can high five yourself. Good job for getting up. High five yourself for completing your workout, for tracking your macros. I think it's important to audit your day, the things that you're doing, and set Google Calendar events for important things that you have to do. Set alarms for things that you have to do. There's this book, it's called The World is a Mirror. And how I think in my mind and in my heart, it projects out. However I feel, however I think, what I'm speaking, it projects out to other people. And that's why the greatest gift that I could give to the world is my happiness. Because if I'm happy, I could spread it to other people. Even if I went for a walk down the block and then I was listening to something and I smiled, and then the person that was walking the opposite way, she smiled too. Many things are connected. Even how I feel, it needs to be aligned with how I think so that I could be in unity. Because for the longest time, I blocked out my pain and I didn't show emotion. It shows in the way that I speak. It shows in my smile. Because for the longest time, I didn't know how to smile. Because I wasn't happy as a person. And these are little things that can be done to improve quality of life, the longevity, even the foods that you're eating. I personally don't smoke. I don't gamble. I'm not sleeping around. My dad had 4 kids by 3 different women. I never had any kids because I didn't want to repeat the cycle of messing up a child. I never wanted to hurt a child. That's why I never had them. Because if I didn't love myself, how could I love a child? There's many, many things in life that you're not going to know until you get there. There's certain levels to the game. It's like a ladder. Once you are climbing up the ladder and then you have a challenge, you could work on it and then you could grow from that challenge. You're not necessarily going to go from the bottom part to the top part though. Have patience, understand that there will be setbacks, lessons, and learn to enjoy the journey instead of the destination. Because the majority of life is the journey. I'll check you guys in the next one.